Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. This is King Orange here, back again for a nice little channel update. Good lord, it has been a while. um, yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that it's May, and this has been the first time in like 4 to 5 months since I posted. This might even be the first YouTube video post I have made this year. Lord help me. um, But yeah, for anyone who's stuck it out, I would first like to say thank you very much for doing so. Um, been kind of crazy as of late. So first, I there's a couple of things I'd like to go over. The first is I feel like I owe an explanation for why I've been gone so long. I know my scheduling's always been a little inconsistent, but this kind of a whole different level of that. Considering this is almost 5 months without content, and well, I'll sum that up the best way I know how to. My job in combination with grad school. Not to mention keeping up with a awesome romantic relationship and IRL friends, family, so just all around a lot of things in my personal life that has been going on, and it's just as a result of that, I have just generally not had as much time for really YouTube content as I used to. I'm also going to freely confess I also suffered a case of, I would say, YouTube burnout. And it's not necessarily because I ran out of things to make. I still have a decent amount of things I want to make, and I'll be going over a lot of those here in this update. It's just it was just to a point where when you're doing nonstop work for your job and then nonstop work for college and grad school, and then of course keeping up with family, friends, and relationship responsibilities, it's kind of like, not to mention also trying to leave enough time for leaving enough time for me to even just rest a little bit. So it's just, generally speaking, as a result, sorry, I'm adjusting my camera. Um, Really, just as a result, I just haven't had the same amount of time that I used to. And that's going to kind of lead to the good news and bad news. The good news is I'm not done. This isn't some doom and gloom of, ooh, I'm done with YouTube, I'm never going to make a video again. Certainly isn't going to be that. So that's the good news. The bad news is that I really can't promise much in terms of what I'm going to upload and when. Well, I can tell you what I intend to upload, what I intend to make of it content wise. I can't promise when any of it's going to come out. And at this point, I'm kind of even past the point of making those promises because anytime I do, it just causes unnecessary stress. I will give estimations. I'll try my best to say, hey, this thing is, about like maybe 80 to 90% done. And I'll try to like at least be communicative on like my progress within certain videos, so you at least know, hey, if it's like 90% done, you can expect it within like reasonably the next month or two. But yeah, but I can't promise any frequencies anymore, especially with how sporadic my schedule has become now. And I think that's always kind of a far cry point to make. Is like back when I first started, I was in middle school, I'm pretty sure, when I first started, if I'm remembering correctly. And then high school, obviously, same deal. And let me tell any youngsters that watch my content, don't grow up too fast. Please don't. It's not, there's a lot of things to look forward to, but it's also just much more tight as far as scheduling and a lot more responsibilities to keep up with. So just don't rush it. Please don't. But yeah, it's just back then I had more time, and then there was the pandemic, and that's also where, for better and for worse, pandemic, there wasn't a lot to do. So had more time then as well. Um, but yeah, everything now is just a lot more busy with a lot more responsibilities, a lot more to keep up with, and I'm past the point of making any promises on that. So, um, that said, good news is I still have some content I intend to make, and I guess moving on, I'd like to share what I do intend to make. First and foremost, any videos I did not properly finish last year, I intend to do so this year. So that includes, but not limited to, the Revenge of the Sith reviews, both the movie and book adaptation, I'm pretty sure I'm keeping up with. Um, I will also be finishing the Labyrinth of Evil podcast with Deb Ponick. Um, we finished like the recordings. I just gotta finalize the edits. So yeah, there's that. Um, so finishing what's last year is important, and that also ties into a big project I started last year but did not get the chance to finish. Is my Anakin Skywalker versus Darth Vader versus video. And I intend for that to come out soon too. I originally wanted to aim to release it on May the 4th, but unfortunately that did not happen. I'd like to get that one out by June. I really just got to do some final touch visual edits and then do some audio editing. I'd say about 85% done with it. So, yeah. As far as original content goes, like stuff that I conceptualized or in pre-production this year of, there's kind of a few videos I intend. One, I unfortunately am gonna have to make a memorial video surrounding Tom Kane with his recent passing, which yeah, that's it's not fun. And I bid my respects to him, and I have nothing but remorse and empathy for any family or friends he may have that, are probably pretty distraught by his passing. So there's that. I guess on a more positive side of things, I completed my core set of Star Wars analysis videos, and now I'm in a bit of a crossroad with that. So I'm thinking about either continuing the Star Wars analysis series or perhaps branching off and trying a different series. Halo kind of stems to mind with me. Um, so yeah, just leave in the comments what your preference on that would be. Speaking of Halo, I also intend to make a video talking about Halo Campaign Evolved. I'm sure by the tone of voice you can already tell how I'm feeling about that. Um, Long story short, if you don't want to get into a longer video of that with me, um, I'm not super impressed by what I see. There's some things that are nice, quality of life improvements, but overall, um, just very underwhelmed by it generally. But I am open to being positively surprised. I just doubt they will positively surprise me, but never know. Um, I also probably intend. I'm sure Deponic will probably push this on me too. Is we will probably make a review podcast of Maul Shadowlord, probably, or at the very least, just a initial reaction video to that, kind of like a, hey, this is just our rough thoughts. Um, so I intend to do that with him sometime in the near future. And then there's also a couple of reviews that are in the making that I don't know how I put it. There are a couple of videos that are in the making as far as like co-reviews, like movie stuff, and it's fun. It's not really what I'm excited for, but it's stuff I'll enjoy. The big announcement that I do intend on making is I am intending on, ever since getting back into stuff related to college, I have been getting back into writing again. And I have been working very closely with Zexel Brony, who, if anyone doesn't know who he is, he's also a YouTube content creator and he occasionally comments on my videos. Shout out to you, by the way, Zexel. Um, Him and I are working together to make a collaborative set of series for like Star Wars fan fictions that are like set in like a fan fiction style continuity. And I've been working on that, and there's been quite a few stories we've already made on Wattpad. I could, if you want, I can include the link in the description below for that. But something I do intend to do on my YouTube channel is I intend on trying to make um, like audio drama adaptations of those fan fictions. And at this point, especially with my general discontent on most of modern Star Wars at this point, we were just kind of taking the mindset of fine, we'll do it ourselves. And this even will lead into what may or may not be the launch of one or two new channels, potentially. I'm very reluctant to do it because, like I said before, I am so freaking limited on time, and I don't know if it's exactly wise for me to spread my time out even further thin than it already is. That said, there's a couple of YouTube channel ideas I've thought about. One is the Intergalactic Archivist, which is essentially just I'm just gonna make a dedicated Star Wars lore channel, effectively. So that's like the first big thing, and then so that's one idea I thought about. The next big one is I am talking with Deponic about potentially forming a collaborative channel. And because he's also dealing with a lot of logistical issues like I am. So we're thinking about maybe creating a collaborative lore channel. So given that context, it'll probably be like one or the other. It probably won't be both. Um, but yeah, we're thinking about doing something like that. And trying to do something more like consistently collaborative so that way it kind of allows us to kind of complement each other and not take up the YouTube burden as badly individually. But right now that's still an early conception phase and there's not even a guarantee that's going to happen yet. So those are just thoughts and ideas. Other positive side of things, I am also intending on trying to get a few game reviews made. Republic Commando comes to mind, and more movies are going to be trying to be made. And oh, speaking of another unfinished project, is Deponic and I making the Force Awakens review. Yeah, we're really late on that, but we intend to launch that as well. And then this will probably take a while. I don't count on this being released this year, but we are also intending on starting pre-production for another Versus collaborative. Um, the only thing I'm going to tell you about which characters it is the characters are one prominently appears in a mainline Star Wars movie, the other appears in a prominent mainline Star Wars game. That's the only hint I am giving you guys for the time being, and I'll let you take wonderful guesses on which characters that might be. Aside from that, movie reviews obviously still going to keep going, game reviews, etc., etc. I am intending on, now that Campaign Evolved is coming out, I kind of almost want to give another shot at what I tried to do back when Halo Infinite was close to coming out, and that was to like make a proper review of each Halo game. The only one I did so far was Combat Evolved, and even then I kind of consider that review to be a bit outdated now. Not so much because a lot of my opinions have changed, like most of my opinions are the same. It's just my general analytical format with reviews or whatever else have generally evolved. And yeah, I'm thinking about doing Combat Evolved again, and then also trying to do Halo 2 and Halo 3 reviews. So, yeah, that might be on the horizon too. In truth, there's a lot. And as far as the analysis goes, circling back to that, and by the way, guys, I really do apologize in advance. I know this isn't the most organized structure video. It's really just me freeforming, but, what are you going to do? For the analysis videos, now that I covered the main Star Wars factions, my next, I guess you could call, season of Star Wars analysis videos, if and when I get to it, are probably going to be more focused on like individual aspects of factions or whatever. So things like, you have like the Jedi and Sith, the clone army, the droid army, the corporations, the third party factions, like all of those things are aspects I intend to cover, and maybe even covering more nuance surrounding like how people perceived certain events or like what actual conflicts were like. So that might be what I go for. It's hard to say, but and really, if any of you have a preference on what you think I should or shouldn't make in this case, or like, I intend to get to all of them eventually, but if you have a preference on like which ones I should do first, please by all means post in the comments. I'm more than happy for any feedback. But yeah, that's really about it, guys. I like I said, I know this is a very like off video in a way, but that's just because I'm making this late at night and I just kind of want, for one, I just wanted everyone to know like, hey, I'm not dead. I'm not dead. I'm not gone. I haven't quit YouTube. But also just to kind of tell everyone what's up and, kind of what's the plan, so to speak. So, yeah, that's about it. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you for putting up with me for the last almost 20 minutes. If you enjoyed the video, give a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have already subscribed, please, or even if you haven't, put a comment. Really, comments are kind of like the thing I'm going for now. I want feedback. So if I can get feedback, that always helps. Alrighty, well, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Until next time, I will see you later. Peace out.